How have you found the podcast?
Yeah,
I can't get confused. How have you found the podcast? How's it been? Have you enjoyed it? Constructive? What's it like?
I think because you asked the question in a French accent, I should only answer like this in the Borat accent. What nice.
The Borat one.
Yeah, Borat.
Okay.
But
Borat.
yeah, no, alhamdulillah, genuinely enjoying them. Like I was saying earlier, this is our usual casual, gap shop, talking about different issues, and to bring the public and the audience into our conversation circle. I think it's fantastic. People are engaging with us, they're leaving their comments, they're enjoying watching, they're enjoying engaging with us, to the extent of what they can, which is the YouTube comments, and we take advice from that. And I think from where we were a few weeks back, where we were trialing it, a bit nervous as to how's it gonna go. Sometimes there's, if we're all just sat in the car and we're not live, doing a podcast, if we just sat in the car and we don't, if we just kill flow for a second, we all just jump on our phones, we can do so. But when you're live, you got to keep that flow going. Alhamdulillah, it's got to the
Didi,
point.
you tell me, do you think this is the new way forward?
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just move the mic over here, right? That's it.
Yeah, are we alright? Joe, can you hear me? Can everyone else hear me, more importantly?
Yeah, so how you found it? What's constructive? Obviously, your boys, are they watching what they're saying?
Yeah, everyone's enjoying it. Obviously, it's a new medium of communication, isn't it? It's a bit more laid back, a bit more relaxed. We're enjoying it, obviously.
Yeah.
We're enjoying delivering content to the public as well.
We're still having sound issues, I think.
Are we still having?
Are you sure?
Is it just me?
100%, because I did
Can you
get
still
a
hear me?
minute ago saying that there's no sound again, Janab. So,
one second. Let me just do a quick check. अगर इजाज़त हो इमाम साहब तो
जी
बहुत शुक्रिया.
It's working.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, anyway, it's obviously a very good medium of communication now is the way forward. And I think we're looking to grow now, and that's the next step, I think.
Yep, going with the flow, and of course,
to grow now, get our audience to be bigger, and just get out there a bit more, and
engage,
share our reviews.
Engage with the audience. And
I think this medium of communication is probably the new thing, and it probably wasn't now. It was the first lockdown.
Yeah.
We're a bit late, but never too late. As in, we're here now. This is what's happening. We're doing it. We're doing podcasts. We're engaging with people. We're talking about current issues. Important issues, issues which are affecting the community at a local and wider scale. And we've covered religious topics as well. So I think it's phenomenal, fantastic. I think it's the best way forward now. I think we get more people watching us on this now than we would have on if I was to deliver a talk on the subject.
But this is the thing. I never really, truth be told, before I started doing the podcast, I'd never ever listened to a podcast. It wasn't something, when I thought of it never appealed to me when I thought of the concept of 2-3 people sat on whatever the discussion is. Why am I going to be bothered about someone else's opinion? But once I started doing them, and then obviously once you start doing something, you look into how other people are doing them. I was watching one by Mani Liaquat, the comedian. And
from Manchester.
Very funny guy. And I was just watching his, but I was on the way to work actually, and my journey to work is about 45 minutes to an hour depending on traffic. And the best thing about the podcast is because
like the name of a podcast, that my journey to work.
My journey to work, and I will do a special podcast on that 45 minutes. But it's like listening to a radio show. And you know that the biggest form of entertainment, even more so than TV, is radio. Any person who's on radio, any person from the BBC will tell you that the radio is more successful, and more people are engaging with that than they are with the televisions. Because when you watch the televisions,
I think what made the podcast. Sorry, just cut you off.
I
think what made the podcast so popular and popping and big is they're unsolicited, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And people like Mani Liaquat, like you said, if he's on a BBC platform, he's obviously got to watch what he says.
Yeah.
Especially raw and uncut, isn't it?
I think that's more so with you, Ima, because alhamdulillah, we are all linked to the Mazbi Islamic field, and especially you being Imam. And I think it's nice for the people to also see, that, sometimes there's this perception of Maulvi bare dade hone, you know what I mean? And it's nice for the people, and I think they've seen a new side to you as well, where, it's chilled, we can,
I don't know, man. I don't know if they have seen that or not, man. But I mean, I do agree with you that
they haven't seen your dada side though, dada Maulvi.
Yeah, but obviously just dressing casually.
Yeah.
It's, I just think it's a platform where I can be myself casual, yet not let go of what I've learned or what I know, we can always bring that in, but it's just for people to engage and relate, being relatable. And I mean, I don't know if you guys will agree or not, most probably you will, but I've always wanted to be the Imam who is relatable.
Yeah, of course.
Ever since I started, I've always wanted to be someone who the young generation or the current generation can relate to this guy, because he's the young Imam who everyone can sort of relate to. We can speak on his level, etc. So that was our motive and objective when we set out with this. And I always mention, let's talk with IMAH isn't just deen. It's deen and duniya, so which includes religion, politics, sports, sociology, psychology, philosophy, you name it. Let's sit and talk, man. We just talk about anything and everything.
By the way, Asif, if you're watching, that's not your deen and dunya. That's our version of deen and dunya before whacks the copyright on us and that.
Please don't do no copyrights on us. But
you got his partner in back as well.
Deen and dunya, meaning we're a blend of both.
And it needs to be, because let's be honest, when you're trying to inspire the youth, or not even just the youth, even the elder generation need inspiring these days. And when you, and this is going to sound quite bad in the way that I'm delivering it, but the point behind it is much more important, that when you when you basically shove people at it and you put it in front of their face, and all you do is naji tusi asra karna, you have to do it like this, you have to do it like this, and you don't let them know. If you make out like the only way that they can move forward is with the deen, but they're part of the dunya as well. There's ways forward in accordance with the deen that you move forward. And I think it's good that,
And I don't know, I think for me, from young, I studied and learned, and I heard the famous saying, كَلِّمُ النَّاسَ عَلَى قَدْرِ أُقُولِهِمْ. Speak to people according to their intellectual capacities and levels. Now, I'm not saying that we're, intellectually incapable and we should be speaking at a certain way, or, you'd like to use the word dumbing it down, but to make things, simplifying things. We make the religion so technical, so hard, so difficult for people. Ad-deenu yusrun. The religion is easy. Yassiru wa la tu'assiru. The Prophet ﷺ said, make life easy for people, don't make it hard. And if we can communicate with the youth and people and the community, elderly or young, in a language that they can understand, then I believe we are quite successful in our duty and mission, because language is the key. The way how you come across to people, it's a language. The way you speak to people here, especially when it comes to delivering religion, or delivering Islam, or delivering a message or a point, it has to be done in a manner, in a way which can be reciprocated by the one listening. And if we're gonna sit here and talk technical and this, that, and the other, I've never done that. Not that we can't do that, not that we've not studied that, but
it's about what you're saying. It's about it being effective, because if you're gonna use, you've got jargon in every single field, and you've got it in the Islamic field as well. And if you're gonna be using your words for the people who you're sharing the stage with, being the other ulama, for them to understand, then it's not gonna have as much effect, because they already know what you know and you know what they know. It's about the ones that are sat in front of you, and and
it's not about impressing those around you. To show that
it's about effectiveness. It's about effectiveness.
What
Correct me
impact
if
are you
I'm wrong. It's a hadith of the Prophet says, talk to the people on their level.
That's what I just said. كَلِّمُ النَّاسَ عَلَى قَدْرِ أُقُولِهِمْ. Speak to people according to their intellectual capacities and levels. So speak to them in it. In your position, you should be able to talk to them. And I think podcasts now are the thing.
That's the way of communication.
I'm going to say it to ulama, go invest in some equipment, go find a nice area to sit in and talk. You don't have to talk the way I'm talking, but go talk religion. Why is Imam Adil why was Imam Adil so welcomed in the podcast that he came on? They saw one aside to him more gentle, but two, he was able to deliver his message. Then only in the second one, he went back to his normal routine. But if he stuck to being gentle and normal, You know, people are like, wow, these guys are on our level.
You know,
As in,
it
we
reminds
can relate to them.
Yeah, it reminds me of a discussion. I'll title it discussion that I had with a brother who I won't mention. Allah bless him. Where we was talking, and if you remember in the first lockdown, what was really going for us was the Instagram lives. Now, what you got to remember is that it's a platform and it's a way to connect. And I remember I was on your Instagram live a couple of times, and then you had other people on, who are linked Islamically, who are, Dunyavi log bhi aise, and it was good because you used to have 6, 7, 8, up to 1,000 people watching at a time. And I remember having a discussion with somebody about that, and who possessed a different opinion to ours. And a different opinion is, it's allowed. It's
valid.
It's valid. You can have your own opinion. And the discussion we was having was, the brother made a statement that and again, it was an opinion, it was nothing, set in stone, but he says, my opinion is that the position of the Imam is on the mimbar and not on Instagram. And I kind of countered that with, the brother, like I said, may Allah bless him, he was of a much older age, and of a different type of thinking. And I just said to him that, for the Imam to be sat on the mimbar in your position is perfect. In your opinion, you're completely correct, because that's where you will listen to him. But the 1,000 people who stayed on for up to an hour, because that's the limit you get on Instagram, that's where they were going to listen from. And you take them from being sat in your car and being on Instagram live. And what you do is you open up to them there, and you connect with them there. Once you've established that connection, that's when, they'll be at a position to listen to you when you're on the mimbar. 5G wasn't created originally, it was 3G, 4G, and then 5G. You've got to start somewhere.
Develop.
Yeah, and
Progress.
then once you've got that connection, that's when you can speed up the process, and you can get people on side. And some people, and you're an Imam, you're in the position. We are more so kind of the ones that listen to you. We're the ones on the audience, you're the one on the stage. And I've heard it, but from an audience member's perspective, I think massively is the way forward, because the way to connect with the people now is
through social media.
Through social media, and it's not in the traditional way. Back in the days, it used to be the case that, correct me if I'm wrong, that the azan wasn't only called for namaz. It was called for when there was, a gathering was needed to update people of what's going on. And that's how it worked. People would gather and they would listen to one person who was sat on, the higher pedestal or on the chair. But times have moved forward. Ways to connect with people have changed. And, if we stay in those days where, in Pakistan, it still happens now. If there's an elan, the masjid speaker will go off. Or,
it's being interactive. It's being able to interact with your crowd, with your community, with your people in a manner, in a way that's going to bring about an impact and change. And if that means on social media, you be interactive. If that means on via YouTube, on podcasts, so be it. You've got to do that. And I just believe that we've got to evolve in our method of delivery, in our method of within the limits. We can't completely break the limit. We can't break the stereotypes that are out there in that sense. But within limit, we should be able to evolve and be able to interact with young people in a manner where they can relate. And on that note, please, guys, just go and share this podcast with people who are going to watch and tune in, who are interested, who've got a bit of time, on your WhatsApp groups. And on your social medias as well. Let's get the numbers up. Let's let people watch and view and listen to what we have to say. But overall, I think the podcasts have been very good. Yep. If I was to score it out of 10, and I'm looking at it from every aspect in terms of sound, with the exception of today slightly. Yeah. Visuals, settings, looks, in every in delivery, in terms of topics, discussions,
punctuality. I think we've been good for timing.
We're not bad for time. I mean, we've not been.
We're normally very late for everything we do. You know what I mean?
We're quite late.
We stuck to our times.
And for that reason, I'm going to say that we've I'd probably give it a good. And that there's always room for improvement and serious room for improvement.
Yeah.
We're growing as a platform. We're growing as a podcast. We had our first special guest in Harry that came down, Khan, and it was good. He was awesome. People loved the insight, and he's got nearly 10,000 or over 10,000 views just on that one podcast in over a week. So, I'd give it a solid 7. Yeah. With loads of room for improvement, and I'm being quite harsh. I'd probably even say 6, but that's because
I'd agree with you on that.
I set the benchmark and the standard. You know, we've got to be the best in what we do, whatever we do.
Of course.
So, you know, I'd give it a 6 or a 7. What would you say?
I'd probably agree with you on the 6 or the 7 because, like I said, room for improvement. And if I think about 6 things we're doing good, then there's 4 things we can improve. So yeah, I'd say it's about 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Did he?
Maybe a 5 out of 10. I'm a bit harsher than you lot, but
Yeah,
honestly,
and that's
between-
that's
yeah,
and
that's
and
just
that's
we've got
because a
to be
lot of
honest.
people.
Okay, let's
be
make it
honest.
fun in it. Let's rate each other how we think we're doing.
that's not funny. Is it?
Do you really want to?
Go on, go for
I didn't even
it.
get a chance to speak about it.
That's what, he knows straight away. And he's
No,
like,
he
no,
knows,
don't
he
rate
knows,
me.
No, honestly, yeah, go on then.
No, Abdullah, no, I was only joking. I don't want to go down that route, bro. I'll tell you straight.
But you said it, not going in.
No. I rate myself a 10, bro. You gotta love yourself.
Guys,
You love yourself a bit too
unfortunately,
much.
we have to cut the podcast here. Oh no, Wass has gone on for 10.
Yo, come on, it's true,
No,
man.
but all right, go. You know what? We'll do it.
you
We're
don't
gonna
love
do
yourself,
our
who will?
personal one
You
afterwards.
know what? I think on your Instagram, you should set up a poll. You know those polls? Set it up tonight, let everybody, and then on the next podcast, we could talk about it.
No, I'll tell you,
No,
we
no,
should do
come
it
on,
after the marriage room because that's going to be a big discussion. Everyone's going to
Yeah,
get
after
their-
that,
Yeah,
tell us.
guys,
Tell us,
I-
tell us.
just you know, on that note, Didi's just dropped it in. The next big podcast is going to be on the 24th, 25th, and 26th of December, which is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, which is coming up this coming week, and we're going to have a seriously in-depth discussion on marriage. So before marriage, during marriage, after marriage, children, mother-in-law, father-in-law, parents, domestic violence, abuse, divorce rates. We're going to talk about how to find a spouse, what to look for in a spouse, what is permissible, wedding days, the way wedding days are done. There's a lot to go through in that discussion. A lot of people are interested, and I honestly need every single one of you guys.
That's the big one. You know.
That is going to be a big topic. Like in terms of topics, that is like our big topic we're working towards, and
And
it's only going to be worth it, Was, if we get everyone tuning in to watch, because
It's not even a single podcast job. Do you know what I mean? That's why we've dedicated 3 days.
and it might
to
be 2 hours on each,
Yeah.
because there's that much to discuss and
Yeah.
that much to go into,
Yeah.
and you know, we really want to talk on a ground level,
Yeah.
on a grassroots level of the problems.
Mm.
You know, why people are not getting married, or why can't they get married, or why is it not compatible, or why is there no understanding, why is there breakdown. There's a lot of these topics that we're going to discuss and go through, and that's one definite podcast that we want everyone to tune into. But before then, please share with your family, your friends, and everything, and inshallah it's going to be good.
You know, on that note, I've seen a couple of comments. I'm a bit confused. It's like hashtag Didi, hashtag congratulations.
Yeah,
Exposing the hair. Like how you brought that one in.
You like how I
well,
did that
I
one?
think you did that because you know exactly
Married.
what. But
If the cameras are married,
he's a married man.
Married
Didi
man
has
taken.
MashaAllah.
That's why
Mubarak
man
to our
down,
brother.
man
that's
down.
why we took 8 days off the podcast. Really.
To be honest, that is one of the major reasons why we have taken 8 days. Joe, split the screens, man. I'm waiting for the split. So you know, it's 8 days. I mean, I think how long has it been? How long have you been married, Didi?
12th of December, I got married, and we're
So
on the
it's exactly 8 days.
8 days, exactly 8 days. There you go. Look at that.
Man,
8
sadke
days.
theema.
If you're asking me if I'm happy, you can see the smile on my face. I'm happy.
As the manya
So
would
let's
say.
just move on now.
MashaAllah.
No, honestly, for 8 days, how's married life? She's probably watching now as well.
My face is describing it, so that's it. The smile. I don't need to say anything.
Mashallah,
He's a happy man.
I'm happy, man.
Nazar
He's
na
found
lage.
love. He's found contentment. He's found
Mashallah.
peace.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من
توكل من
أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا
إليها.
إليها
Mm.
وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة إن في ذلك لآيات لأولي الألباب. And
MashaAllah.
from amongst the signs that He created for you your pair, azwajan, or your spouse, from yourselves.
MashaAllah.
If people
So
look
that
this when they break up
لِتَسْكُنُوا
with their wife,
إِلَيْهَا, so you may find contentment in her or within marriage. And He placed between you love and mercy and that. And that's what marriage does. You know, that's what marriage should be doing. There shouldn't be problems. And if there's problem, is because we probably go away from the Quran and Sunnah. And if you go to the Quran and Sunnah, you'll find a happy marriage. If you follow the way and the tradition of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, your marriage will be good. But if I go too much into this,
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
you
man.
guys, you got to drop it. Come on,
Yeah,
Wasma, we
yeah,
got-
yeah. Bit of a trailer.
Who
teaser,
can
teaser.
sell it better than those tellers?
Yeah,
man?
that's the one. That's the one.
So, guys, you want to hear more on this? You're gonna have to tune in on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night.
Fresh
Come in.
perspective as well. I've just been newly married,
Yeah,
so I'll
yeah.
give
A
you that
new-
perspective.
I
newly
think
married
we'll
man-
get Didi's proper opinion then in it when it's,
Yeah, it's only worth it then.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
just to say that when we're here catching up, today's episode is just catch up amongst the boys, amongst the panel. And one of the points was that Didi's married, so
Yeah.
we're gonna catch up more
I
on
just
that
thought I'd
later.
throw that in there before we all forget on that.
Yeah, so
I bet it was
Didi,
a sin that put the comment there.
It was
Obviously there's sin in
indeed.
it. It has to be Booj that's doing all that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
giving him a shout out now, Booj. There you go. You got your shout on the podcast. Leave me alone in the comments
You know what?
now.
Funny thing is, I seen it way earlier on, but I thought, you know what, I'm gonna whack it in some point, yeah. Where
3K sleep in on, eh?
Jay
So,
Saab,
yeah,
Jay
it's,
Saab.
Mani gaya, tu kimi mani gaya.
okay, so obviously, Didi's got married.
Yep.
We've discussed how the podcasts are going.
Mm.
We've got a big podcast coming up.
Yep.
On a personal level,
Mm.
in terms of a catch up, I managed to play my first game of football, 11-a-side football, that is,
Mashallah.
this season.
Mm.
I mean, I got injured
Scott
end
McTominay.
of, on the end of, no, that's an insult, that man. I would never ever.
I
was
You
was
know,
actually
okay, that
raved.
today.
It went
I
over.
care about
I
it.
laughed,
No,
bro. It went
I
over
am
my
no
head. I don't
Scotsman.
understand football
Yeah,
jargon and
you
jokes.
keep laughing.
So
I am
just
no
laughed for the
Scott
sake of
McTominay. I was dubbed yesterday as the Andrea Pirlo, the Pakistani Andrea Pirlo yesterday.
You know,
Yeah,
I'll have
what's
to,
his name,
I'll have
man?
to Wikipedia and
You know what's sad is? Yeah, look, let me tell you. You know what's sad is? They didn't record the goal, man. You know,
Didn't you end up on that lad page that once and got
Yeah,
a
I came on
million?
Sport Bible, yeah. Came
Wow,
on Sport
wow,
Bible
wow,
for a
wow.
35-yarder. You know, Sport Bible's a big platform and that. And, you know, Maulana Sahab, Imam Sahab's
Mashallah.
goal went onto, you know.
That
what
was
they
a good
call it,
one though.
Sports
That was
Bible.
a good one though. I don't understand football, but that was a good goal. That was a good goal.
It
No,
could
no,
have been an own goal, innit?
it could have been, but
Still a good
the
goal.
ball went into the goal, so it's alright, innit?
Whatever goal it was a good shot, good kick.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
my position with your goalkeeper?
Me?
Had to be in it.
No,
Always got picked last in PE as well.
I was spectator. That's it.
Left
That's,
back
Yeah.
in the changing room.
Still don't know. I like that one. I like that one.
That's an old football joke that, you know, it's boring, but obviously he's a newcomer in football, so he liked it.
I like that.
So, yeah, coming back to my football, I mean, it was the first 11-a-side game I've played this season. Obviously, play amateur football. We're in
Cheek.
Division 1 of the West Riding Football League. Play for a team called Fairbank United,
Big up
up
shots.
the Fairbanks. It's
The Fairbanks.
so, you know, up Fairbank United.
That's
Obviously,
our
it's a
tennis.
local football team. It's a football, hashtag and that. And it was nice. After 35 minutes, he gets right, go and warm up. You're coming on. I think it was 30 minutes and came on and,
Game
first
changer.
pass went right, second, third. Normally I'm hitting them well wide on that, bro.
Yeah.
But it just went right. And then I'm telling you, I just sensed it when I was walking back out for the second half. From the touchline to the halfway and that. And I had a kick off his Shoba as well. He was just driving me mad yesterday. And then afterwards you go, what a goal.
Before you carry on, I've got to give props to Was. And
Oh,
the attention that he's listening to you. He does not know what's going on.
Was, please keep listening.
He was like, I was left and I was right. I was like, half
I'll
time.
tell you, all I know
What
is
does
this. The
half-time
ball
mean?
came to me from the right wing, left wing. I cut in onto my right, cut in onto my left. And boom, I whacked it 25 yards whilst he went straight into the bottom corner. It just swerved and dipped. And you know what? We ended up winning 3-2.
Mashallah.
That goal was the reason we got 3 points
The
yesterday.
catalyst for the victory.
And I had players like Jay who are top players
Ringing me.
ringing my brother and telling him, look, this guy was the Andrea Pirlo of Fairbank United. And I
Nazar
was
na
like,
laga.
yes.
Nazar na laga.
Mashallah too.
Mashallah,
Two,
I might
two.
get injured next week, but Allah Ta'ala protect us, no game next week. by the way.
I mean.
So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed playing football yesterday after a long time on the 11 side, getting out on the grass, getting muddy, getting dirty, and going in for tackles and all sorts. So it's nice. I that's a bit on the personal level.
Yeah.
And that was something nice yesterday to actually take my mind off something that was really sad. A lot of people would have known through my social media and stuff that we actually lost a very good friend.
Yep.
Of our mosque, our Masjid al-Hikam, and a very good friend to me as well, very close friend of mine, Samir Munir Butt. Samir Butt, who who, what can I say, man? The guy was a diamond. The guy was a G.
Yep.
He was
Yep.
just. He was as many of the friends that I've lost. They're all 1 in a million. But when you really do believe that 1 in a million when they leave you.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give it to Didi to share a few words on him and tell us his experience with Big Sam. The main man.
Yeah, Samir. I was actually the first person he met in Al Hikam before IMAH. He's an amazing guy. I mean, he hit me for a 6. Imam Adil texted me whilst I was teaching. I was teaching the kids, and he just said Samir's died.
Wow.
Honest to God, I just looked at whilst we're teaching, I just randomly pulled it out, and I'm like, I literally rubbed my eyes. I thought, it might even be a prank.
Yeah.
I know this might sound
It's
sick or
denial,
horrible.
innit? It's denial,
It's
innit?
just you don't want to admit and you don't want to accept that.
Mm.
Then Jabab commented in the group saying, yeah, it's true.
Mm.
And I'll be honest, I sat by myself for an hour and I cried over Samir.
Mm.
He used to send me job links, like, off his own back. I don't even think Ayman knows this.
Just supportive on that.
Who does that, man? He used to go on Indeed for me. I never told him. And he used to look for what he thought I'd be good at. And he used to send me every week 2-3 jobs, and he'd give me dua. He says, if you need anything else, I remember I did Fajr Jamaat here once. And I was walking home, it's really cold and that. And he seen me and he's like, where you going? I go, going home. He goes, yeah, jump in, I'll give you a lift home. We had a good little chat, went home. And like I was saying, the first time I met him, he came into the office and he was like, Assalamu alaikum, what mazhab masjid is this? Sunni or the other? I said, yeah, we're Sunnis. And then he says, you look familiar to me, you do. I says, yeah, my brother runs this mosque. He goes, what's his name? I go, Imam Asim. He goes, I know an Imam Asim as well. Honest to God, this is how the conversation went. He goes, I know an Imam Asim as well. I says, yeah, it's probably my brother. He goes, oh, is he your brother? I says, yeah. He goes, oh, I used to be behind him embarking.
MashaAllah, yeah.
Because you wouldn't this connection, that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put these two together as friends.
Yeah.
He goes, I've moved to Bradford. Look where I moved. Opposite the mosque, Imam Asim.
Yeah. And the new house, across the road.
Look how close he was to us.
Yeah.
He was just sat down outside, but Ayman was sat and he goes, I'm going to come back tomorrow. He bought me tie for the masjid.
Look at that, man.
He bought me tie and he said,
That's
tell everyone I've moved to this area from London.
Yeah.
And I'm new to the community and I want to meet everyone, he said. And then I told Ayman, I remember, and that was a good 3 years ago.
He just kind of blessed us with his being and his personality.
I just say, I was saying it to his brother and that, like, he was like a guest.
Yeah.
He was like a guest who came for a couple of years and he left us so many memories. And then, like, it's deep, man. It touched me on a different, and I've cried a lot, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Last 3-4 days, I've been crying loads over him, and not because I'm, not content with Allah's decree and that. Nobody I tell you, I would say if someone like me or Didi and our family, and we know what death is because we've lost a lot of people.
Yeah, of course.
In terms of family, Hafiz Zain, my dad, my uncle, my grandmas, my granddads. We have deaths all the time, bro. And, Shiraz Shah was like the first volunteer in this mosque.
I remember the first janazah as well.
The first janazah in this mosque. And, Shiraz was like, he was a short 5'4", 5'5", Sayyid, Bukhari Sayyid from Bukhara. His family's this, go back, are descendants of the Prophet ﷺ, going back to Bukhara and then back to Arabia. And the guy used to help out in the masjid all the time, itikaf, where it was Tarawih time, where there was Sahri, where there was Iftar, where hoovering up, cleaning the toilets, wherever it may be. Sayyid Shiraz Ali Shah Bukhari was always there. When he passed away, it was a shock.
Yeah.
That was another one. We knew he went into hospital, but then towards he had a few illnesses as well. But then, again, it's a shock. A young lad, 33 years old. As soon as he passed away, it's like a year after, you've got this big burly guy, he walks in and he's always smiling. He's always good, and he goes, look, if there's anything this mosque needs, I'm always here to help now.
Yeah.
He bought Matain here because he's moved in the area. He's sold up in London. He moved to Bradford. He had 2 daughters. He left behind 2 daughters and his wife. And he moved to London and moved to Bradford from London, and no family here. No cousins, no brothers, nothing. All his family are in London, and he's got a brother and a younger brother and an elder sister. Both mum and dad had passed away a good while back. And he came and he goes, look, I'm here to volunteer and help. And I used to love people who'd come forward, sincerely, genuinely.
And he really lived up to that volunteer position that he came in, because whether it was I remember the photos you sent, whether it was the installation, whether it was that event where he even did the hosting, and we had a right laugh about that. That the first time I met him, do you know what I mean? And
and whether it was,
memories.
that one time, I think it was the 27th night or one of the big nights, and we had to send wires across. And Joe, Betty, you, all of us had, turned up that night. And Zain, I think, was around as well.
We were.
And we were just sat around, and he was like the eldest sat amongst us.
Yeah,
and he was 43, like he's a 40-year-old in his 40s.
Yeah.
And, he would become one of us.
Yeah.
With children, he was children. With elders, he was elders. He was always having a laugh. In this office, I must have sat so many times with him. Kaise ho, Imam Saab? How you doing? Are you all right? I go, but Sabtusis now, he goes, Shukr Allah. Alhamdulillah, I'm all right. He went through a time where he couldn't find a job. Why did he send Didi, links for work? Because he understood.
He knew what it felt like,
What it felt like being unemployed. I used to tell him, I used to say, Didi can't get a job, this, that, and the other. I didn't tell him find a job and send him it. He, out of his own back, would then go and find and send him links.
Yeah.
Only because, obviously, I've had the prior convo with him, but he didn't have to. That's convos had happened with Tariq, for example, with others who I know that can get jobs, but they didn't do it.
That's how you know someone who's got a good heart, who, when you've had a conversation with them, they've shown you afterward. That
he didn't even tell him, Imam Saab.
I didn't know.
I think he's found out today, right now.
I didn't know that he ever sent him links. He
That's
never said to me,
sincere.
a sincere man doesn't boast what he's done.
Yeah.
Sincerity has not an ounce of arrogance, boast, or showing off inside it.
Yeah.
There's no ostentation in sincerity.
And that was our Butt Saab.
And Butt
that was
Saab
him,
just,
man.
he embodied that.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of the first lockdown with him, cricket. That was hitting
exactly what I was going to mention. Now, Butt Saab, if I just want to share a memory a very pleasant one that I had with him. Now, Butt Saab, may Allah raise his ranks, he, like me, he was quite a big lad, you know what I mean? And he was one of the lads, and he was quite big. And I remember it was Ramadan, and, to kill time in Ramadan, we used to meet up at Scotchman and play cricket. And I'm not a batter, I'm not a bowler, I'm not a fielder. So that leaves me in my normal, default position, which is spectator. So I used to be sat on the side, and one day, Butt Saab is with his famous walk. And I remember he had a hat on exactly like this. He had a black t-shirt on, short sleeve and that. And he come in and he had his trackies on. And he goes, Kida ji, literally like that. And I was like, Butt Saab, what's happening and that? And in his, proper, still had his strong London accent. And he come and he goes, you're not playing? And I was like, nah, Butt Saab, you? He goes, I was gonna, but I'll just take a seat with you. And then we just sat that whole day watching. We didn't even know what was going on. We were supposed to be keeping the score. And I think that day the opposite team won. But me and, Butt Saab, we were just like, we kind of lost track because we were talking about so many things. I was talking to him about when he moved here, and, we were talking about that same event, because I go to him, I says, Butt Saab, I seen you on that event, I think it was
and he'd laugh it off.
He loved it though. He goes, it was an experience for me. Yeah. He goes, it was an experience for me. And he goes, but I'm just, that's just me. And he was just bubbly and joyous, and genuinely, he's that guy that, he was here for a short time, but he left his mark on everyone 100%. On another level. Just here, only maybe 5-6 weeks ago, when we were discussing the podcast, when Imam Adil,
I said bring him on, remember?
Yeah. We were talking about him. We were talking about bringing him on the podcast. He goes, Nadi to see somebody. He had that andaz,
he messaged me a couple of weeks ago about the podcast, and I'll just read it out here.
Yeah.
Because he used to message me all the time. Smear used to always message me, and I sent him this. I says, tomorrow night at 9 live with special guest, Harun Khan. Yes, Butt Saab will make entry.
Yeah.
He goes, yes, Butt Saab will make entry. Then I put, and then he goes, good podcast. Then the last message he sent me was on the 9th of December now. I've been unable to, with Butt Saab, what used to happen is, either I'd meet him every other day,
Mm.
and we'd get sick of each other.
Mm.
And he was busy at home. He used to work in Barnsley every day. He used to go, and I'm mentioning just on the note, when he went through a tough time trying to find a job out here,
Mm.
and then eventually he got a job, and it was ended up being in Barnsley.
Mm.
And Barnsley is a trek, man. He's driving 45 minutes every single day from Bradford to Barnsley.
Yeah.
And his job was in maintenance, and maintenance of NHS buildings and stuff. So he was in a good position, good job. In London, he was in a good job as well. He left that, came here,
Top guy.
and just like when I used to see him regularly and that, and then I hadn't seen him for about 2 weeks, but I'd say about 5-6 times out of 10, if I went past his house, you have to go past his house to get to him.
Mm.
He would be standing there.
Yeah.
He'd wave at you. He'd be like that. I broke my jaw. When I broke my jaw, he came to my house with yakhni and haldi. Like, he didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Nobody else did. Joe, no, you knew. I'm not putting anyone down. Like, you're all friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
You rang, we heard you broke your jaw, get
Yeah,
better. This guy had that in him, that he went that one
Caring
extra
soul in him.
mile.
Caring
He was
soul.
just so caring.
Mm.
And he goes, we made some haldi and yakhni, and it's just a thought. You think, what's this like?
I'm over the last few months here. Let's be real. We've seen it on Channel 4. Channel 4 did a documentary on it, especially in Bradford. In Bradford, we've taken some hits this year. Massive ones. Me, within my own family as well. In January, we lost a massive pillar of our family. Jacko's dad passed away.
Yeah.
Just earlier this year, about 2 months ago, my uncle passed away. 4 days after his sister passed away in Bradford. Everyone I know, genuinely, who I share this city with, I know someone who's now lost someone. And, we hear every day, I'm part of the Janaza announcements WhatsApp page, and, we see, this person's passed away, this person's passed away. And it's now, it pains me to say that it's become a norm. But, when you think of some people, like, it doesn't, we've got acquaintances, we've got friends, and we've got family. Yeah, and there's some people who you passed away, you think, I've seen this guy here, there might be somebody who I've seen in the Mahfal once. And, it does, of course, it goes through your mind, I've sourced there, but, like, you don't feel that hit, that hit. And there's some people who you just hear that they've gone, and you think, nah, man, not him.
Yeah.
We didn't
And
get
him, we
didn't get enough joy from him and his joyous personality. And he was one of them people, man, that you never, some people, let's be real,
He was
some
full
people,
of life, ironically.
you walk in a room and some people you think, oh, easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Badsa
naturally,
was that guy. You
couldn't
walk
think
in
that.
and you're like, yes, he's here. Do you know what I mean? He was.
He was a big foodie, man.
Yeah.
I used to love taking him new places to try out in Bradford.
Yeah. Mughals on the rock and the
there's this
steaks and
Brazilian steak place, right, called Estabulo, and we went to Leeds to eat there. I remember it was just me and him.
that.
Funnily enough, me and him, and I didn't take nobody else. So I said, Badsa, let's go. We'll go try this Brazilian steakhouse, yeah? Halal and that. And we went and we went inside, we come out, and it was my treat to Batsab. I said, look, my treat, don't worry. So I go, would you fancy a dessert and that? He was never going to say no, because I like it, he likes it, we went. And it was in Trinity, I think it was Trinity in Leeds,
Leeds, yeah.
And upstairs you go up the elevators.
Yeah, it's kind of like on the
there's a dessert shop.
The horticulture, whatever it's called.
Hortidolce, that's the one.
Hortidolce,
Yeah.
And Hortidolce, we went there, me and Batsab, and the kid who was working there actually went to school with Batsab's daughter.
Okay.
So we sat there, we're eating, and Batsab goes, oh, my daughter, and I think the guy goes, the kid goes, oh, are you so-and-so's father? And Batsab goes, yeah. And he goes, look, and when we went, he goes, oh, look, we're not paying, you don't need to pay for nothing, because obviously, we went to school with your daughter and stuff, and I respect uncle, don't worry about it, it's on the house. And, that's just one memory of going out to eat with him.
Yeah.
Once he was going to take me to the airport, his car broke down.
I remember that.
It was on Cemetery Road. I'm on the way to Canada. I go, Batsab, you're going to drop me off. I want you to take me.
Yeah.
I'm talking, this is our level of, closeness I have with him.
Yeah.
And, this guy was deep, man. He was deep. He used to share all problems, everything. I go, look, Batsab, struggling to get married. If I'm going to buy something or buy a house, anything. I don't know why, man. I just used to share it with him.
It's just
You
that
know
one
why?
person
Because
you
I
do much
knew
for
he
with and
would
that.
never ever share that with anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
He wouldn't
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about my
yeah,
business. And I love people who are like that, who don't talk about my business.
Yeah.
You know, who keep my business to themselves. And he is one of those people
Yeah.
that I had
I-
100%
and you
trust
knew
in.
any mashwara that you take off of him, it wasn't going to be out of malice. It
No
wasn't,
chance.
you know, it wasn't. It was only going to be in your best interest.
100%.
And when you find someone like that and then you lose that person, man,
It hurts. It hits.
deep, man.
And when Imam Adil rang me and he goes, Samir Butt's passed away. And I actually said to him, I said, you're having a joke, man. I don't believe you. He goes, do you think I'm joking? I said, no, I can't believe you, man. Imran, when he rang Imran, Samir Butt's passed away. Imran goes, Imam Adil, is it serious? Are they having a joke with me?
Oh,
None of us could believe that Samir Butt would pass away so soon.
yeah.
And it hit us so deep, so hard. And, you know, his wife was in Pakistan. What must she, and I'll tell you, Batsa was very close to his children. Very close to his wife. They were his world.
Yeah.
And I'd feel I was his world and everyone else that was close to him. He was such a
Bang
big
on.
character.
Bang on.
You know, so nice, so gentle. And it just seems as though, and it pains, it hurts. It hurts. Why? Because you think, you know, they are good people, man. I mean, just an example. That's
Wow.
But this is him going to collect, you know, on behalf of the masjid. Just leave that picture on. I mean, that's Shaf there, Hamad and Tariq, father and son, Imam Adil, with one of the constables here. And, you know, But used to always go on that, man. And that's like, it's, you know, here he's collecting on behalf of Al-Hikam. You know, this guy's gone, he's getting certificates on our behalf.
Yeah.
You know, it's deep, man. It's deep because,
He loved his cricket.
you know, he met Adil Rashid. I remember when they won the World Cup, he went all the way to Duckworth Lane, obviously not all the way, meaning, he goes, I'm going to see Adil Rashid. I says, you want to meet him personally? I says, don't worry, he comes read Jummah here sometimes with us. You know, and in that aspect, you know, there's so many memories of Batsab in different, this is I think on Snowdon when they climbed the mountain.
Wow.
He was always, you know, there was always a pose. He made a TikTok account. He started becoming
He was the vibe. He had the vibe.
buzz. You know,
what
he
I
would
mean?
light a gathering up. You know, this is where he went to, you know, and Batsab grew his beard. He was a regular Namazi at our mosque. You know, there was so many things like, you know, I could talk all day. I had issues, problems in the mosque that we need to get resolved. He's the first guy to turn up and help me, man. Put insulation in, putting soap dispensers on, hoovering the masjid. This guy gave so much to us. And you feel, during, I can say comfortably, I always knew the quality this guy had, man. And it's deep. We all have friends who we lose that we have that connection. And
Yeah.
my rishta with him wasn't anything but through this masjid. He was a friend of the house of Allah. That's what I loved about him. He did stuff nobody knew. Quietly got on with it. And when my father passed away, when Zain, you know, his brother told me, and you know, it brought tears to my eyes when his brother told me. He goes that, you know, his brother sat here and he goes, oh, there was a young lad who passed away in this mosque about a year ago. And, you know, Samir was really upset about it. And I said to him, yeah, that was my cousin brother. You know, my younger brother, Hafiz Zain, who passed away. And he goes that he really felt that. He would, you know, he couldn't stop talking about Zain going, because that was but for you, man. He felt others' pain. Not a lot of people feel others' pain, man.
Yeah.
And he was someone who you know, and I feel it. I feel for his daughters. I feel for his brother, his sister. She's suffering from cancer. You know, it was really, I mean, But Saab's whole family ended up going to London. Mother was in Pakistan. Daughters went to London overnight. They didn't want to stay here. They couldn't. How it was hard for them.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely
of course.
respected and understood. And they'd gone, and it was left on us to wash his body, to shroud his body,
Yeah.
to do his janazah. We did it. You know, I would do that for anyone who was in his position.
Yeah.
He's my brother. It's the least I could do. And then just taking him to London. When we arrived there, you know, it's like I said to But's sister, I said, today we've come to return our guest back to you.
Allahu Akbar.
This is an amanat. He was your amanat that was given to us. And it was our duty to take him back to his family. And you know, This is what boys are for. This is what boys do. This is what boys do. This is what real boys do. They take the, they do everything to make sure that our friends' akhirah is right. Didn't you do this with Tauqeer? Didn't you do this with Hafiz Zain?
All the time that you were talking, because Bhatt Sahab, Allah bless him and raise his ranks, I had the pleasure of meeting him a few times, but the level you was on, and I wasn't on that level with him, but everything you're saying, I'm just it's going round and round in my head, because
Tauqeer Anjum.
And Tauqeer, like you said, your connection with him was through the mosque, and our connection with Tauqeer was through our mehfils. We were young lads and we had this shonk. Pakistanu Naat Khan. I remember Tauqeer, when he was really young, he used to read Naats as well.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know him as well then, but he had this talent of Sher o Shairi. And I used to, when we just, the lads sat and we were having our little jam sessions there, I remember watching him live, because I became very close friends with him about 4 years before he passed away. And it's funny, a lot of people don't know this story about how we became close. Now, Tauqeer had health issues since he was a very young child. And for the first time ever, I remember I was maybe 17 at the time. And the lads had planned a trip to Morocco. We thought we're not going to have no problem with halal food there. And it's first time. And that first lads holiday that everyone kind of goes on. And it was me, it was Awais Iqbal, it was Ahmed Rubani, it was Kashif, our own Kashi Khan, T Khan. Joe was with us. And there was Awais's brother Sohail was supposed to go with us. And he went to Umrah, and he came back and he says, boys, I've just been abroad and I don't think I can take going abroad again. And his ticket was booked. So we had a place that needed filling. And I remember Kashi said to me, he goes, look, and we recently started chilling on that. He goes, what do you think about Tauqeer ko main? I go, Rapu chickens. I go, but we recently got to know each other. If he's going to be comfortable going with us or not. And Kashi goes to me, goes, he's ready, he's active. And I said, wicked man, Tika, let's go. And on that holiday, we really got very, very close. And I remember something quite personal to me is, I remember it was Morocco, there was a cafe called Cafe Abdul Rahim. We used to get breakfast there. They used to do these beautiful, nice chicken sausages and that. And me and Tauqeer used to go there in the morning, sometimes before the rest of them had woken up. And one day, my mum rang me, video called me. Now, I'm very khandani. When you introduce your friends to your family, it's a very big thing, and you don't just do that with anyone. And my mum sees my friends as her sons as well. And I remember I was on video call to my mum, and Tauqeer was sat next to me, and I go, Tauqeer is with me and that. And my mum just, Assalamu alaikum putter, this, that. And she asked me afterwards, she goes, Nikah ja kun si cute ja Moran, because he was quite, he was short and he was very, very slim. And, we got very, very close. And then over the years, there was so much we went through. There was mehfils and this, that, and
traveling together, and
then he got ill. And I remember when he initially got ill, it was Manchester mehfil, and the Victoria Park one. I think you had a speech there as well that year. And he'd come from Birmingham, and I was already in the mehfil. This was 19th of November. 19th of November it was. At the mehfil, and I remember he didn't look too well. But it was still, mehfil. And I remember the very last message he ever texted me. And, some people might laugh. And we know how it works in mehfils, we all go. And he goes, his message was, B, you got any fivers on you? And I messaged him back and I go, no, why? He goes, Khalid Khalid's on next year. And he wanted to go and, do some khidmat of the Nathan and that. I go, B, I'm out, because Kari Shahid's on after that, you know what I mean? So it was a little joke that we shared between ourselves. And that's the last message I ever got of him. I didn't know that night when we went home, and his dad told us, and I'm sure his dad's either watching, because he does regular watch, or he'll watch. And I remember his dad shared this with me, that Tauqeer, he went through illness throughout his life, but he was very, very strong. Stronger than I could ever imagine myself being. For you to be that age, and for you to have this grasp that I know what could happen with me. I know what this illness means. There's a possibility of this. And for you to still face the world with a smile at the age of 18, 19, massive thing. He, for the first time, says to his dad, okay, Abu, I think I need to go to the hospital. His dad goes, for the first time in his life, he said that to me. His dad told me this afterwards. And they went to the hospital, and on the 25th, he had his operation, he had a transplant, and the 24th or the 25th. And now we planned our first ever mehfil, the Sada Bahar mehfil. You know, the first, the lads doing their own mehfil.
Yeah.
And I got a message saying, look, Tauqeer's in hospital. And Tauqeer texted me himself actually. He goes, look, B, I'm in hospital. And B was his word on that. You know, we all refer to each other as B. Cause,
guys always say B in that, yeah.
He goes, B, I'm in hospital, but don't worry, Tuesday I'm on form. And we all planned, you know, we're going to chip in for the mehfil this time. He goes, meet my brother, get my Hussain. You don't worry, I'm going to be on form for Tuesday. I go, B, you do what you need to do right now. You take care of yourself. Tuesday we're going to show Bradford what a mehfil is. Because it was Shongsi, we were young,
lads,
you know,
man,
and we wanted to do it. And we've always attended them.
I'm sure I got the invite as well.
Yeah. You came to the second one. The first one, we was like, it was proper trial and error and, you know.
Yeah.
But we did that, and the day before the mehfil, Sufyan and Isa, two of the lads, they told me, look, he's had a transplant and, you know, he's not going to recover. He's going to recover, inshallah, but he's not going to recover in time
to get back,
you know
for
what I
the
mean?
mehfil, yeah.
So I said, okay, you know, Allah give him faith, and, you know, let's, at the end of our mehfil, we're going to do a dua for him, and he's going to get the ajr for it. He's done his part, you know, and a month went by, you know, and everything was fine. You know, I messaged his uncle Waj a couple of times on Facebook. I didn't know him personally, and I just seen a post by him saying, this is my nephew. I messaged him, look, I go, you know, he's a brother of ours, and how is he? And he goes, you know, just do dua, alhamdulillah, be okay. 23rd of December came. I remember I'd had a long shift at work. I do sleep-ins at work, and I'd not slept on the sleep-in. So I come home and I knocked out. I woke up, I think maybe 8-9 o'clock, to about 6-7 missed calls. Woke up, I rang Sufyan straight away. I go, Sufyan, what's going on? He goes, cuz, where are you? And which isn't his normal way of answering the phone. Me and him always have a bit of banter, you know, when you pick up the phone. And I go, I'm at home, what's the sketch, where the lads are? And he goes, we're at Gosia Maria, you know, the masjid on Leeds Road. And he goes, Joe's bought some new sound system and we're just playing about reading Nata. And, you know, just that was us, man, you know, like on a normal...
But then that's how it was, yeah.
A normal evening, that's what we were doing, you know, we're linking up and we were, you know, having a jam session. And he goes, look, Aija, I need to speak to you about something. And I go, is everything alright? Because I knew Tauqeer was in hospital. I go, is everything alright? He goes, look, just please come in it. So I cut the phone off, and a few things started going around in my head. So I rang him straight back. I go, look, I can't drive like this, bro. You give me some sort of inkling as to, you know, what I'm coming to listen to. And he started crying on the phone, I remember. And he goes, look, Tauqeer's dad's rang me, and he's critical, and you know, he's in ICU and that. So anyway, I went to the masjid, seen Sufi. He told me, and I still remember all the lads, we kind of all shared that, look, we know this now. And we was outside Mahmood's, and I remember everyone was talking about what next, what do we do, what's our part. And some people were suggesting, yeah, I know this Peer Saab, and I know this guy is in Saudi Arabia, and I'm going to get this dua done. And I remember what my part was in that, and I said to them, because I'd never felt what death was. I lost my grandma in 2009, I was there for it all, but I was a kid, you know, I didn't understand.
This was your first real...
This was my first real experience. And my comments that time, and I still remember them, I says, lads, do what you need to do to give yourselves this Ali. He's not going nowhere, you know. He had the same transplant when he was a kid, and he's going to be alright. And I genuinely believed that. It wasn't the case that Memoriya ki tasalli dena wasta, you know, I'm saying these things. I genuinely believed that. Went home, everything's fine. And I remember Qari Sahab was in the UK. I'd done a stretch with him on mehfils. 6 in the morning, we got to Hawat Road, Mukhtar's house. And this is on Christmas morning. Christmas morning this was, 25th of December. 6 in the morning I got there. Qari Sahab goes to me, I need to go to Dewsbury at 10 in the morning. I go, Qari Sahab, you've kept me awake all night. I need to sleep. It's freezing. You know, I used to drive a little Yaris then. He didn't work. You know, and I go, Qari Sahab, please give me ijazat. You know, he's my ustad. I had to listen. He goes, look, I've got no lift, mate. Himmat karni pehni hai. So Rehan was with me at the time. And I go, Ryan, it's going to be a tough one, man, but just wake up in it. Dropped him off home. We both, me and Rehan, I remember we slept on our sofas because he had to wake up in 2 hours and we were shattered. And it's easier to get out of a sofa than it is to get out of a bed. So woke up, we got late. I think it got to about 12 o'clock by the time we got to Dewsbury. It was a bed factory. And we'd planned that day to do Khatme Qadriya because Tauqeer was with Dawat Islami. And we planned to do that. And not all the lads knew that it had been cancelled because Naseeb had to go to Blackburn. A few lads had some other things going on, so we planned to postpone it to the evening. There was one person who I wasn't sure if he knew or not that we've postponed it, and that's Kashi, you know, T Khan. Now Kashi is our elder, you know, he's one of the lads, but you know,
he's more mature.
He's more mature,
He's
and
more
you know, if things don't go to plan,
he keeps
you know, he's the elder and he's allowed to do gusa. At the end of the day, he's elder than us, innit? So I didn't tell him. Nakashi is ringing me, and I remember the time exactly, 25th of December, 25 past 1, 13:25 on my phone. Rehan was sat on the other side of the hall of this bed factory. Qari Saab's reading. I'm sat there kind of half asleep. And Shoaib from Keithley, Alpha Shoaib, sat next to me because he was going to take Qari Saab on to Stoke-on-Trent. And I'm sat in this mehfil half asleep. Now I've got this problem with my legs. 2 minutes, sat cross-legged, and my legs, you could hit a hammer into them, I won't feel it. I lose all sensation, they go to sleep. So I know when I'm sitting down, I need to stay there. I'm sat down, you know, in that exact situation, and 25 past 1, I get this phone call from Kashi. I thought, I've not told Kashi, he's going to flip when he finds out I'm in Dewsbury. Sufyan's rang me 2 minutes later. I thought Sufyan's going to be with Kashi, they're both going to flip. Let Qari Saab finish, I'll shoot back to Bradford, we'll do the khatam. He's, no calls. 2 minutes later, I get a text, and I thought, they've texted me, I'll see what mood they're in. Usne mutabak, I'll call him back or text him back, innit? Because if he's really angry, I'll just act like, you know, I'm sorry, I was really tired, I'll call you back. But I scrolled down and it was a message from Mohsen in our group, and the group was named Sada Bahar, you know, for our mehfil. And the Tauqeer, the message read, Tauqeer is gone. Sorry, Tauqeer has left us. And I'm just looking at my phone, and I remember the time, 1:31, it was bang on. And thinking, he's left the group chat. You know, that's what went through my head initially. You know, why he left the group chat? Then I know WhatsApp, if you're not active for a few weeks, you leave all your groups. Open the message, and straight underneath I seen Isa's message. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. And you know, there's a spiritual feeling, and then there's one physically feeling the room spinning. I'm in a packed mehfil, I'm in no position to express what I'm feeling. There's people around me, and I remember slapping off a Shoaib. I remember it, and I remember putting my hands on my head like this. And I said, Yarad, he's not saying Tauqeer's died. And bear in mind, I mentioned my legs, my adrenaline kicked in, and my legs woke up at that point. I ran. Now imagine, he come room being packed, me getting up from the left side in a packed mehfil and shouting across to Rehan, saying Tauqeer's gone. Went out the room, called, and it was confirmed. And the next 24, 48 hours that followed that, those have had an impact on the way I am today. You know, knowing him for 3-4 years, maybe I didn't know him when I was a kid, but losing him, it made me see everything differently. Sometimes my family asked me, you know, you're always out all the time. You're meeting new people, this, that, on Facebook, fulani ki milya. What's all this for? And I remember saying these words to my auntie once. I says, when I die, I want that, what he got. I want people to know someone's left while he was 19 and his Madani Masjid was packed, the car park was packed. You know, I want to leave something like that behind. And I seen him do it. And I realized that I didn't know him because I went to school with him. I knew him because I read Naats and he did Naqabat. That was our connection.
Yep.
And it hit, man, and
this is what death does, Was, man. This is exactly what it does. It brings life into perspective. It matures you up. It grows you up. There's so many lessons to learn from the passing of one person. And it's tough. And, you know, I'm talking recently about Sameer, but the way you had that friendship with Tauqeer, I had with Sameer, you know, and if I was to even ask Didi to open up about Zain,
I'm not gonna.
You know, I had 4 years, you had 4 years. I mean,
I had 20.
He had 20 odd years. He was a soulmate.
Yeah.
They were literally best friends. Nobody was impacted as hard as Didi was when it came to Zain passing away. And you knew Zain.
Yeah, I knew Zain.
Everyone knew Zain in our circle. You know, Zain was just Zain in it. It was my younger brother. He related to me from my mum's side and my dad's side. He was my first cousin. You know, his brothers on here. It's tough. Just his thought, the way what we went through, you know, and I put something on Instagram the other day and I said, you know, it's been tough. People don't see it, man. I went through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Just on what happened on social media against me and what was written, and then Zain passing away. And I'll tell you, when Zain passed away, I was in South Africa.
Yeah, you was. I remember because you come back.
And I came back straight away, and you know, Zain was like, you know, he always looked at me. He looked at me as his big brother. You know, he had Hussain, then he had me. You know, Didi was his best friend, more than best friend. They were soulmates. They were brothers. They fought. They did everything together, literally. And you know, and losing my dad, and it is tough. And you know, with Samir, I'm gonna go back to him because obviously he is so recent to me. I mean, Tauqeer's birthday is coming up 25th.
Yeah. A week.
On Friday, it'll be,
years.
you know, how many years?
3 years.
3 years. And I remember, because at the same time, there was Brother Shaf's son who passed away in the car crash.
Yep.
And I was sat there, I did a speech there, came over and I did dua at Tauqeer's.
Yeah.
Sat with Tauqeer's father, and I knew Tauqeer from Mehfils as well. I didn't know Tauqeer otherwise.
Yeah.
Him, Jawad, yourself, you guys used to listen to talks back in Madani, wherever it may be. Tauqeer was someone I loved a lot because he was just one of those characters. You just knew he had that thing about him. And you know, there's so many memories, and I just want to say, you know, death does this, man. You know, kafa bil mauti wa'izan. Death is a sufficient reminder. You don't need to say anything. You know, when we went to put Samir into a body bag in his house, you know, you're talking that I was one of the guys who, with the Khabar, the next door neighbor, with Bilal, with these guys, we went upstairs to get Samir, and just seeing him lay there lifeless, and you know, and I seen my father pass away with my own eyes. I seen my father pass away, and I didn't see Samir pass away, but again I seen immediately after death how it looked. And I'm not gonna lie to you, we're just bodies here. What makes us is the soul.
True.
What makes you fall in love with, what made me love Samir but was his soul. What made me love my father and Zain and Tauqeer and all these guys that we know so deeply, so well, is the soul. Because end of the day, this body is a cocoon for your soul. It's the soul that gives you life. And death, what does death mean? Death means body separated from soul. That is death. Death doesn't mean soul is dead. The soul's still alive.
Yeah.
You know, the spirit of that person is still alive. So when Samir and we were moving, and I said to the guys, be gentle. For the Prophet ﷺ said that the body feels and the soul is still above the body at the time. So I go, Samir is still watching us through his soul. But he can't respond and we can't hear him.
Yeah.
And people don't understand the depth of death, how deep death is. And you know, it's that separation of body and soul that you term as maut. And if you put Samir's soul back into his body, he comes back to life.
Yeah.
Hence why sister is the brother of death. When you go to sleep and when you wake up, what dua do you make? Alhamdulillahi alladhi ahyani ba'da ma amatani wa ilayhi nushur. Oh Allah, all praises to you for giving life to me after I died. You brought me back to life, meaning I've been awoken from the dead state. Sleep being a state of death. A mini death, you can say.
Yeah.
And it was just seeing him. And I just thought, wow. And I just go into this mode of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that he's alive. I believe his soul is alive, his body is gone. And the body, that's why the body, we care about our bodies and our looks. The body goes into the ground.
Yeah.
but the soul gets risen. Because the soul is greater than the body. The soul will always be higher than your physical body.
Yeah.
True.
The body belongs back to the earth it was made from.
Yeah.
But the soul is in the higher realm, and that's why, whilst we've got to work on our souls.
It comes down to faith. You know what I mean? Like, for how I work is, like when somebody passes away, and from the moment they pass away, as much as I'm involved with it, and Karimia Saab, who passed away recently, I was at their house an hour later, up until the moment of their janazah, to the moment they took the body out, and they took Qari Saab to the funeral service, and I didn't study with them that long. I literally did my qaida with them, but I got that chance. I feel very honored, of all the students and hufaz that they developed and worked on, and but it's from that moment, every single thing that happens, you're around that person and that body in essence, as you're saying. It's
just a body in the end, isn't it?
But it just, for me, it strikes, and I think it's a matter of faith. I would say my opinion on this is that my faith wouldn't be as strong as yours in this situation. And maybe because I've experienced it less and my age is less. And the reason why I say that is because whenever I've experienced death, and I know if you have a high faith, your attachment shouldn't be to body, it should be to soul. But it's the attachment to the body that, Emi chori ka jo liya hua hai. Do you know what I mean? And I think that comes with experience. I lost Tauqeer be my first experience, and Allah give all my friends and all my family and everyone I know a long life. But maybe if somebody I had to go through it again, then maybe my reaction and the effects it had on me mentally and physically and spiritually would be a little bit different. Maybe, and it always hits you as hard, but it's about from that hit how fast and how in a better position you bounce back. Because like I said, the effects of Tauqeer affect me till today. It's been 3 years. It's coming up to Christmas. For the first time, I'm not going to be able to go to his grave on his thing because I'm going to be in Pakistan from 2 days' time. And I'm not going to be there. But it's come to that point now where I can go to his grave, and now I've reached the point where I'm appreciating the fact that his soul is still with us.
I think Sameer's daughter was watching. Like she messaged on the chat saying my father. And I don't know if she's still watching on that. And I know, and the young girls, man, one's 17, one's I think 13. And they probably don't understand death. They probably don't know what this means. And for them, I will say that it takes time.
Because you've lost a father,
I know I've lost a father, but prior to that, the janazas I've done.
Yeah.
From a young age, we've been doing janazah. I was 19, I did my first janazah. Do you know what I mean? I seen my grandfather pass away. I seen how it is in that sense, and having read and studied and whatever as well, to add on to that, it's helped me. But I still cry.
Yeah.
It still doesn't stop me from crying. You know what makes me cry is the memories.
Yeah.
Is that person's there? Like, but I would sit there with his Pathan hat on.
Yeah.
He'd have his jacket. He'd drive and. It's these memories. My father, if I was to open up, I'd just be crying, man.
I remember when I brought Qari Saab and you were going through the photos, and then there was a video.
You made a good point on Instagram when Sameer passed away, about spiritually realigning yourself after death. And trying to... I think it's important that we say that now as well, that when somebody does die in our family, like... I'll open up a little bit. I went through serious depression when Zain passed away, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
serious.
And I can say that because, we've seen my brother...
Like I lost myself, I'll be honest with you. I was actually... I've never been depressed in my life, ever. I pushed everyone away because... What Zain gave me, nobody's ever given me. Then I started looking for that in other people. That's a mistake, that's wrong. You need to accept that was just my guy. Nobody
no one that
be
can
my
be
guy
him.
like him, that's it.
Yeah.
But he's still with me now.
Yeah, of course.
But I tell you something, it's made me do... I can give you a trajectory of this year, the way I felt. And right now, I feel like I can do anything I want. And I'm going to do it and I'm going to be successful. Because whatever was supposed to break me has broken me. God's taken me to that test. If I'm still standing here today and I've got a smile on my face, that means I've got something to do. There's a purpose here. So that death could be the catalyst for me doing something good in my life.
Yeah.
So why should I look at that now, looking back, saying, yeah, Zain went. That's my, I got married last week. I cried to myself. I'll say in this podcast, my brothers don't know, my mum doesn't know. I've sat, Jabba knows. He walked in on me. I was sat for 3-4 hours crying by myself. That Zain's not here with me.
Yeah.
The love that guy gave, man, nobody's given anyone else love like that. Forget just to me. I'll tell you, like, he never used to chill out with IMAH if Didi wasn't there. He wouldn't chill out with Jabba if Didi wasn't there. He wouldn't walk into a house if Didi wasn't there. He wouldn't go to... The guy wouldn't do anything if Didi's not doing it with him. Literally. I've still got all his messages saved.
Yeah.
Why you not coming? I'm not going if you're not going. All this.
Yeah.
But I tell you something.
It was that connection that you don't have with no one else in it.
Now I just don't want to die without leaving something behind for them. I don't know, someone, anyone. I just want to do something now, and that's what is put inside me. Before I never used to think that, I'll be honest, because obviously you're young.
But, I can say that it took Didi time to find that purpose.
Yeah, it's taken me a year, a full year, I'll be honest.
To the point that I can say he lost a stone maybe in weight. Physically it impacted him. Mentally, he got depressed. I know how closed off he must have got with me and my brothers and my mum. Because he was dealing with it in his way. That was the way he wanted to deal with it. He found that, maybe comfort in that, but it's got to where he is now. He had to go through that.
But I will say this, not just because my brother's here. It's because of them lot's help as well. They intervened whenever they needed to. They flipped on me when they needed to. They told me to sort myself out, and they still tell me. And it's because of them I'm going to go somewhere, I'll be honest with you.
I'll be straight with you, like, my father's death had a next level impact.
I can imagine, yeah. I remember you in those days,
my dad was like my life. He was my G, straight up.
Yeah.
I didn't spend much time because I had left Bradford, but the time I did spend with my old man, I was very close. He used to say Didi's his favourite. Didi's my favourite because Didi was like the young one before Mustafa came.
Ladla and that, yeah.
So Didi was like Ladla.
I took that.
But I was everything. He may not have got the title, but I was that. He got the accolade, but I was the one who, if he had to swear, he swore at me. If he needed a box of cigarettes, he gave me. If he wanted to go somewhere,
if Dad was to go on a lad's holiday, he'd choose him then to go.
Yeah.
It was me, like, my dad was my best friend.
Yeah.
And, when his last moments and the amount,
and those last
I can
few weeks,
comfortably say that, my brother sat here, he'll tell you this even. I must have picked him 4 or 5 times and took him to toilet by myself. I think from 4 sons, that's a privilege, man.
Of course.
To carry my father and that, to do his khidmat, bro, I feel like a king. I feel fulfilled.
I was at work when my dad passed away. Just like to say it.
And me, I had stopped all work.
Yeah.
Meaning he was in a position where he probably couldn't get out of that. It's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or it's point scoring or whatever.
Actually, Mum and Dad actually told me, Dad said, I don't want you to think life changing for you. He actually said this to me. He goes, carry on normal. And the day I didn't go work, he shouted at me. And that was the 2 days before he passed away.
And with me, I had stopped. My life is such that I'm available 24/7 in the biggest of needs. Like, I was doing what I was doing. My mother rang me. I dropped 20 things and went straight to Sami.
I remember.
You know me.
Yeah.
And that time, 2 weeks, just by my dad. Before that, 3 months in Manchester, every day, back, forward. He lived in Manchester with my mum. My Adil back and forward. They're taking turns. Me every day. Getting food for my dad, getting this for my dad, that for my dad, arranging barbers for my dad, arranging this. From Bradford, we're arranging everything for my dad there, to the boys that we know there. Just spent all my time with him. And it's hard, bro, how we deal with it. Now, me, dare I say, I felt depressed in many ways. I was trying to find something to comfort me.
Some Sahara, yeah.
My pain was, this was what it was. And then, on top of that, then when I talk about the marriage issue, when you think you found someone that you want to marry and settle with and it don't work, it hurts. Because you think maybe I've got a new ray of hope, just something. I mean, I've accepted. I said, when my father passed away, I said, Raditu billahi rabban. I'm pleased with Allah as my Rabb. This is your decree. And I thank you, Ya Allah, you allowed me to serve him. I did my best I could. Ya Allah, accept my khidmah. But you still want, like, companionship. Bro, I can't live, you'd be lonely. Like, how he feels now would be so much, there's some relief in his life now. Why? Because he's got a companion, he's got a wife. That's what wives do, they're companions for you, man. And when I thought I'd found that one, and then for that not to happen because of my past, because of being judged, oh, you're this and you're that, and we don't want to be associated to you. How do you think I feel, man? I'll tell you straight, how do you think I feel? I feel hurt. Nothing can hurt me more than these words. But it don't break me because I know there's someone out there who'll accept me for me, the way I am. And I'll probably open up about this, the marriage podcast. But I won't do it now. But do you get where I'm coming from? It's not easy, man. And that was my struggle to deal with it. Now, that was his struggle. That was your struggle. I mean, you're now going to, if you now see that, you'll see it more clearly with death.
Yeah.
We, for 10 years, have been seeing our family members dying like that. That's the point I'm making is this is death. This is what death does. We're accustomed to death. It's normal. In my sort of family and us lot, we see death all the time, honestly. You'd be shocked, my brother.
Yeah.
Every year.
My father passed away. We had 5 immediate major deaths in our family.
Yeah, I remember your uncle as well.
My chacha passed away 33 years old. My other chacha was 28 years old. My other chacha, Zain's dad, was 28.
Yeah.
Not immediately. We're talking going back 10 years.
Yeah.
My dad had 8 brothers. 4 of them have passed away. Wow. And my dad was the eldest. He was 50. Meaning death is normal. Like my dad's side of the family all die young. Nobody lives long, mate.
I bet you it never gets any easier when it happens, innit?
Every time has its own challenge.
Yeah.
Like how I feel about Samir passing away, I didn't feel with Hafiz Zain. But how I felt about Hafiz Zain passing away, I've never felt with Samir.
Yeah.
It's 2 different things because Zain's relationship with me was different.
Yeah.
Samir's relationship. And then my dad was just completely out of this world.
Yeah.
It was completely different. I feel my dad's absence when I do my brother's nikah and that. He's not sat there. My old man should have been sat here, man.
Yeah.
I go buy a new house and that. Who am I buying it for? Man, I want to do it for my dad and my mum. Now it's only my mum, my brothers. That's all I'm doing it for. I'm not doing it for nobody else. It's hard, man. It's tough, and death does that to you. And when I say it breaks you inside. It don't break you physically. You carry on, you crack on, bro. And this is why just love people, respect people, share memories with people, be good to people, stop these grudges and beefs and that, bro.
Massive lesson that we can learn from this, and which I, try and remind myself as well is, look, we live in a time now where the elders say social media na door, and there's always, look, as they say in Mirpuri, nikah mota laga rehna, yeah. And this is my message that I want to give away from today. And you know what, I want to act on it myself as well. There's people who we know, and there's people who you guys know as the viewers. And if there is someone out there today who maybe you've not been getting on too well with, there's been stuff going on, there's a bit of beef, a bit of rolla rappa, a bit of tane shane, it happens everywhere. It might be in your family, maybe you got
brothers,
sisters, brothers.
Happens all the time, bro. It's happening right now as we speak. There'll be people watching who are going through these problems.
We learn, especially with Samir, with your dad, there was an illness. With Tauqeer, there was an illness, and it kind of
Hafiz Zain, cancer.
Built up to this kind of thing that we couldn't ever escape. Do you know what I mean? But like after Samir, it was, Samir Saab, it was
Achanak. It was a sudden death.
And from that, we learned that, look, this world, no matter what properties we buy, no matter what we earn, no matter what nice garms we wear, no matter how much achhe talakat, be they positive or negative, this world ek Hussaini nahi hai.
Temporary, bro.
It's temporary, and we're not going to stay here. And at the end of the day, I've learned so much, by listening to you, IMAH, recently. I didn't know what the barzakh was. I didn't know about the waiting room. And all I know about the waiting room is that one day you'll be there, Didi, you'll be there, I'll be there. But the car I worked all year for and kicked off with my brother about, will stay here. You know what I mean? The zameen that I was kicking off with my uncle about, that won't be in the barzakh. So today, this is the message I want to give, that if there's someone out there and you can find it in your heart, drop that person a message, because you wouldn't want to regret it tomorrow.
You don't have to be best friends with them as well.
Yeah,
that's a misconception people have.
You need to put yourself in a position, because I tell you what messes with people mentally, yeah. And I thank God that I've not had to go through this. That sometimes when I've kicked off with someone, if I lost that person the next day, that's something that I know I'd struggle with, and it'll probably end me in itself. And you don't want to put yourself in a position and treat each person in a way where, if that person left tomorrow, you wouldn't have a guilty conscience.
I'll say something personal. Me and Sharash actually had an argument before he passed away. That's why I was. That stays with me in my life.
You know what I mean? But a message that you would give is exactly this.
That's why
it's not worth it.
I learned that in life on that day.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not just saying this on the podcast. I was actually gonna message him there and then. Wallahi. It's alright, bro. You remember the whole Muzi and everything was going on?
Yeah, the situation.
And I was actually typing, I swear on my life, I was typing out a message saying, Shadi, doesn't matter whatever's going on, you're my elder brother.
Yeah.
And I got told then.
Look at that.
And life's short, man. I wouldn't hold beef or grudge. And most important thing, in your heart, you should know that I don't have no rancor in my heart for nobody.
Yeah.
You know, it might take time for you to express that to someone, but sleep at night knowing that I don't hate no one.
Yeah.
If someone hates me, that's their problem, but I don't hate nobody. Yallah, I don't have no hatred in my heart for no one. Your creation, we're insan. Man makes mistake.
Yeah, of course.
We are prone to error. Just the best of those who return back to him.
Of course.
After erring and after making mistake and that. Turn back to Allah and that. And death is above your head. As soon as Allah gives the command, the angel will do his job. Do not think for a moment his death can come at any time.
أينما تكونوا يدرككم الموت ولو كنتم في بروج مشيدة.
أينما كنتم, wherever you are,
I forgot, no? أينما تكونوا يدرككم الموت ولو كنتم.
Death will hit you.
ولو كنتم, even if ولو كنتم في بروج مشيدة, even if you're in a high fortress castle.
Even if you're in the highest of highest,
Allah saying that.
you know, realms,
Mahal. Yeah.
mahal and that, you are in the most secure building in the world.
You're not immune from death.
When that angel comes, that's a kullu nafsin
Dha'iqatul
dha'iqatul maut. Every soul is gonna taste that end. Everything shall die and perish in that. And you know, we started the podcast having a laugh and joke and that,
Yeah, but it got deep, man. It got.
and we knew it was gonna get deep because these are just
Yeah.
our sentiments about our friends.
Yeah.
And I think we should conclude because we
Yeah,
can crack on, and just a special dua really for Brother Tauqeer Anjum, who on the 25th will be 3 years since he left this world. Hafiz Zain, which has been over a year now. My father, who has been over 2 years now.
Ameen.
And, you know, it's been a couple of days since my big brother, you know, Munir, but left this world. And, you know, I pray that Allah give them Jannah.
Ameen.
You know, the highest realms in paradise and that.
Ameen.
And, you know, I just pray one day when we do meet them, you know, we all meet them in paradise. You know, I know Samir, and I knew Samir liked food, and I made this dua, especially, you know, the last dua I made before I left him in London with his family, and I says, Ya Allah, please give him a place in paradise where he eats from the fruits of paradise,
Ameen.
the foods of paradise.
Ameen.
You know, how he enjoyed in this dunya, give him a better and greater enjoyment in the akhirah.
Ameen.
And, you know, and I believe these guys are blessed souls, whoever we've talked about, you know.
Yeah.
We have, of course, we talk good of them, but may Allah give him Jannah, may Allah make it easy for them and their families.
Ameen.
You know, especially Samir's daughters, the young,
Ameen.
for his wife. You know, she wasn't here at the time. It's been immensely difficult for her. I can't even imagine what she's going through. Honestly, I really cannot. If we found it tough, then, you know, it must be. And, you know, like my auntie, Tauqeer's parents,
Yeah.
they know it's the hardest feeling for the immediate family.
Yeah.
And we should never be insensitive towards that.
Mm.
We should always be sensitive around that and compassionate and be soft and gentle and not be harsh with that family who are suffering and that. Leave them to it. This is their stuff. Let them deal with it. Might take them a year, 2 years, like it took Hafiz Saab and others. Takes time. Death does this to you, especially your close loved ones and that.
Mm.
Well, my auntie and my cousin are going through, you know, it's tough time and that. They'll never be the same and that. But we're Muslims. You know, life goes on and that. Samir Butt's brother Shamam, I spoke to him today, and he said something beautiful, and just, you know, again, realigns you. Sometimes people say things. He said, look, when our parents passed away, Samir's father and mother, he goes, we thought the world ended then. But today, look where we are.
Mm.
You know, we come on, and Samir is gone, but the life will go on. We have to continue. Life doesn't end with Zain going or my dad going. We just have to find a new purpose
Yeah.
and to do something greater that will benefit them and us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you says, you want to leave a legacy. You want a packed masjid that will say good stuff about you.
Mm.
That's going to take time. We build that.
Yeah.
But if you live a righteous life, a good life, and you're good to people around you, and your hukuk, and you fulfill the rights of people, inshallah, you know, we'll be given that. And I think somebody's asked, you know, we do a podcast on death. You know, it'll be one of the big ones that we will probably launch once a month. We will do something big.
Once I'm back, and then you know we'll
Yeah, we can do it. We can do one deep one, and you know, I'd honestly love to get more guys on here, but we don't have enough mics.
Yeah.
And you know, we could talk all night about these things, but these are just some of the memories that we wanted to share with people about the loved ones that we've lost. And you know, fittingly, today's catch up had to include, you know, our Samir Munir Butt, and you know, he was actually penned in to come in for one of the podcasts, like Hafiz Zain said.
Yeah.
You know, he was part and parcel of this, the furniture here at Al-Ikram. He was the man for us, and you know, it'll be a huge loss, like any of our friends. And you know, I don't want to come across rude and not make this dua, and people think, you know, anyone who's lost anyone watching this podcast right now, through death, that is, Allah grant them a high place in Jannah and paradise. And you know, the next podcast is on Thursday, Friday and Saturday. It's on marriage. It's going to be deep. Please share this with your families and friends. Get the word out. Let people join in. We're going to tackle a lot of stereotypes, a lot of taboos, religiously, culturally. There'll be a lot of culture that we'll talk about as well. What is religious? What is culture? And I think it's somewhat important for people to tune into. No, I don't have no intentions of finding a wife after that through the podcast in any way. To be honest with you, if anyone thought that that's the aim, but no, it's not at all. I just think it's a good topic to talk on, because everyone is suffering and going through these difficulties, and you know, inshallah, it'll be good.
Yeah.
Any last words, and then we'll just conclude, guys.
Just finally, I just want to say to everyone watching, I hope I'm gonna be off for the foreseeable. Inshallah, I will be back.
In the foreseeable.
But yeah, I'm heading to Pakistan, inshallah, on Tuesday. My granddad, guys, make dua for him, Imam Sahib as well. They're not too well, but you know, and I'm just going out there because I miss them quite a bit, and I've decided, you know, I left my job today, and I sold my cars, and I just made the decision that I just want to go and spend some time with him. So
well, you did tell me before that initially the plans were to go maybe in about 3 months.
Yeah, I was gonna go in 3 months
because your old man's put the call in and said, look, he's not well.
Yeah, and you know, it's nothing to worry about. You know, I've got a lot of family watching who know the situation as well, and you know, we know our granddad, and we know how much his spirits change just when we're around. So I'm gonna go out there, and a lot of things were put in perspective. Like I said, I mentioned on the last podcast, I went through some stuff recently. And my perspective changed, man. I brought that plan from March to December, and I'm flying out there. I'm not leaving a lot behind. You know, there's my own Zati family, and you know, they're with me all the time anyway. So I'm gonna go out there, and you know, it might be 2 months, might be 3, might be 4, might be 5, but I'll be back soon. So I know I've been off social media as well. A lot of people have kind of messaged me saying, you know, you've been off social media, but you've been on the podcast.
Well, it's tough, innit? I mean, you're leaving a job that
I've been in for 5 years.
5 years you've been caring for people.
Yeah.
That's effectively your role was to take care of people.
Exactly, and you know, it became this kind of working relationship where I was caring for people who were 40, 50 years old but had the mind of a child, and it's like you palna them almost, you know what I mean? And it was a very close, but it was emotional leaving work today as well. You know, I've been a bit emotional recently over, you know, certain situations, but leaving work was emotional, but it's just one of them ones where things get put into perspective. So my last message is, you know, I'll be off for a bit, but from Tuesday onwards, I'm going to be back on social media as well. Elan ho gaya ji. I'll be back on social media because I don't want to. This was my connection with the people. I wanted it to be only the podcast for a bit, but obviously I'm going to be in Pakistan. You know, unless you can get me on Zoom, Joe. You know, I'll be back on social media, and I'll be back on the podcast soon. So keep me in your duas, keep my granddad in your duas.
He said everything I wanted to say as well. Jazakallah for listening.
Are you going Pakistan as well?
No. Jazakallah for listening. Please tune into the next one.
So please make special dua for Soulja Was. His grandfather, Allah give him shifa.
Ameen.
And make it easy for the family and stuff as well. And guys, that's a wrap. That's it for tonight, inshallah. Episode 7, a catch up with these guys has been good, has been deep and profound, and you know, we tapped into levels, personal level, and inshallah, you know, things will be better. Never lose hope. And faith in Allah Jalla wa Ala. He is the most powerful, He's the most strong. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Keep reciting this and just stay strong, man. Don't lose faith, don't lose hope. La taqnatu min rahmatillah. And inshallah things will be good. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. We've got to stay strong, we've got to stay focused, and Just do good in this world and the akhirah, and inshallah things will be right. And we will see you on Thursday night. So guys, please share the poster, share the link to what do you call this? Subscribe to the channel and stuff, and then we'll see you then. Jazakumullah khair. Salam.